We were looking at chapter 4 from the text. We were talking about financial markets. There we started to talking about the setup, and then we discussed how do we write the money demand function and how do we plot it in a graph with interest rate on the vertical axis and money on horizontal axis. We now want to discuss financial market equilibrium under two cases. Case one is the only bank in the economy is a central bank. We don't have any private banks. So in this case, we discussed initially that we're assuming that you can hold money in the form of currency or deposits, but because here you only have the central bank, you don't have any private banks. So in this case, money is only held in the form of currency in case one, because we are assuming that could be currency or deposits, but in case one, since you only have central bank, you don't have any private banks, so the only form would be currency. So now equilibrium in the financial market in case one, where you only have central bank and no private banks, it's simply given where money supply is equal to money demand. Now let's first look at money supply in this rate. Now money supply is fully controlled. In this case, where you only have a central bank and there's no banking sector, so money supply is perfectly controlled by the central bank, where MS is equal to M bar is fixed by the central bank and in particular does not depend upon the interest rate. If interest rates were 100%, the money supply, which is set by the central bank at M bar, would be M bar. If interest rates were 50%, the money supply set by the central bank at M bar would still be M bar. If interest rates were 1%, the money supply set by the central bank at M bar would still be M bar. Thus, since the money supply in this case is fixed by the central bank and it does not depend upon the interest rate, regardless of whatever the interest rate is, it is fixed at M bar. So it's drawn at a vertical line at the level set by the central bank in the MI space, i.e. at M is equal to M bar like here. Now let's look at money demand. So we already talked about this, that the money demand function is $by Li, where $y is a nominal income, P times Y, and Li is a negative function of interest rate. Right, so since money demand and interest rate are negatively related, so when we plot the money demand curve in a graph with interest rate on the vertical axis and money on the horizontal axis, it will be drawn downward sloping. And remember, this is because the interest rate that we plot on the vertical axis, this I is the interest rate on bonds, which are an alternative way to keep your wealth in the form of rather than money. So when interest rate increases, so that makes it more attractive to hold bond rather than money. So money demand should go down. So that's the negative relationship represented by downward sloping money demand curve in this MI. So financial market equilibrium in this case is given mathematically, like we discussed. Financial market equilibrium is where MS is equal to MT. We said MS is M bar, MT is $by Li. So financial market equilibrium mathematically using MS is M bar and MT is $by Li can be written as M bar is $by Li. And graphically, financial market equilibrium will occur at the intersection of our vertical money supply curve, which is vertical at the level set by the central bank M bar, and a downward sloping money demand curve. So in this figure, the equilibrium is at point A, where MS is equal to MT, where they intersect, and the equilibrium interest rate is given by I star.